All right, Corey, here we go. Your feedback really quick. The major problems that I see here are in the header and in the footer. The content actually isn't too bad, although there is ways that you can improve it and just some general things that you can do to tighten it up, okay? What I've done is I've done modifications to your file on this one here, for example. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at these and kind of explain why we chose this as opposed to what you had, okay? All right, so the first page, this up here gets a little crowded, and it's also very similar to the idea that they had towards the top here on the original page. So to change that up, this information is now going to go into the footer. And this here, the search button, is going to remain up here because it usually goes up in the header, okay? Our logo will remain here. This we're just going to kind of get it out of the way because you don't need it as your design. It's just like a little tag to let us know what page we're on, okay? Secondly, and very importantly, is you're missing your entire navigation, and you still need navigation. I know you have links to all those items here, but you're going to need them up here, okay? So that's how we're going to clean up the header, basically. And then we're going to discuss a little bit about this area, whether it is indeed a video and not just a slideshow, because if when you code it, you're going to need a video to put in this place, all right? We're going to talk about these register online and view schedule buttons, which I really like this idea of. Okay, and then this appears to be more for the About Us page, so I'm just going to say we're going to take off that information. We're going to save it for the About page, okay? And then in the footer, you already have all of this information here. We're just going to add a little additional information, like really accentuate these links here, also a button to get directions and things really accessible in this area here. And this we're just going to get rid of because that's actually part of your navigation, the sub-nav navigations, like say when you click in the header up here when there's going to be a navigation bar, you're going to be able to click, scroll over, and get different options for all of these different things. So you don't need them in the footer, especially since there is other information that we want to put here, okay? Generally speaking, you can do something like this, but because we have other information that we want to add, we're not going to do this, okay? The next page we're looking at here is the news page, and again, same thing for the header. We're going to just create the header. Once you create it for one, you can copy and paste it basically for all of the pages. All right, and the news page looks pretty good here, I mean in terms of news, but usually there's more than one story, so you usually are going to need like a little dividing line or something and then keep adding to the story. I would also suggest a cover picture. You know, anytime you see news, you get that kind of headline picture so that you know what it's about, okay? Same thing with the footer. Replace it. Once you create the new footer, you can just keep replacing it on all these pages. So again, same for the header here. For facilities here, I would go with, since you're trying to feature imagery, I would just use this as an imagery slideshow. And it could also have the subtitles embedded in here. There doesn't really seem to be a need for this and this. Either you choose something like this for this page, or you go with this one. This is actually features the imagery a lot bigger and is easier to view, so I'm not sure if you need all of this and all this kind of clicking. Okay, what I would do instead is feature the imagery in here and then do the actual like text, like telling them a little bit about the different types of facilities that you have, like the gyms and the equipment that you use and all of that in here. Okay, and same thing with the footer there. So same thing with the header here, and I really like the way you've organized this page. I think it works really nicely. You've broken it down into categories and then subcategories in here, which are all the ones we're going to see in your menu bar as well. Okay, so same thing with the footer. So now I'm going to show you the example so that you can see the changes that we made and the kind of changes that you need to change. Okay, you need to make. Now I'm not going to give you this file because the idea is that you're going to have to work through this and take in the feedback. I'm showing you a visual because I know you're more of a visual person, and this is kind of what I would show you if we were in a class setting. Okay, so the first thing, logo up here, I would make it a little tad smaller or let it fit kind of in this little area down in here, whichever, you know, however you can get it to fit nicely, okay? Your menu bar, very important. These are your 4 major pages. Each one of these represents this one, this one, this one, and this one right here, okay? So it'd be at the top. I would create these so that they're pull-down menus so that when they do go into, say, programs or something, then it would collapse down. I mean, it would open up and give you all the different options so that they could either click directly here, okay, instead of having to go to the main page if they don't want to. Okay, so this would be a drop-down menu, okay? Your search item would be here, and this is just the explanation of what page we're on. On your home page, you usually don't need to let us know you're on your home page. We land on it, we know it's the home page. Okay, buttons that are universal buttons that you want to probably have on all your pages or either in your header or your footer, I've just put them in here, are these. Okay, this video here, I think video for the intro page would be nice. If you don't have access to an intro video, then you might just have to change this to a slideshow. Okay, and feature the imagery really large like this. Okay, so these are your buttons. You need a view schedule because people sometimes just go to a website. Just go to a website to view schedule, or register online because some people just want to quickly register online. Okay, and then support us. Support us is a link where people would be able to donate. This program is based primarily on funding provided by people, supporters. So I think it's a good button to have, one of those universal buttons. Again, it doesn't have to be in this area. You could technically put it down in the footer or in the header somewhere or as a sidebar somewhere. But I would consider putting it where it's accessible on every single page, okay? All right. This, I really like what you did in here. We can do a comparison really quick. That you had these main navigations here, okay, right here. But the only thing is that they're just buttons. We're already going to have access to those buttons up here with the new navigation that we made. If we look at this example here, okay. So really, you need something else, something additional to it. So what I've done is added like a little picture, or you can add text in here instead, either a picture or text or something to describe what we're going to find inside of here, okay. So that's what I would do here, just to make it also more visual or more, a little bit more information to cue them in, because otherwise they could just look at the navigation bar and get the same information. Okay, so that's that. What I did also do is I shortened these. We just want to do like about, and then Kaimuki Wailea, news Kaimuki Wailea, and then our facilities. You know, you could do Kaimuki Wailea. Okay, Wailea, I'm sorry. And then also with our programs, and just, you know, I'm not sure if you need to put this on every single page because it's not going to be on your buttons. It would make it too long. What you might want to just do is put this Kaimuki Wailea somewhere up here on the top so it's clear that this is YMCA Honolulu, but we're on the Kaimuki Wailea website. I'm sorry. Okay. So that's what we did for that page. Now the next page, news, this is what I was talking about. It doesn't make that much sense to just have like a slideshow of stuff. It makes more sense to repeat the news, different items. They could read more, click read more, read more, read more. So you just basically repeat this and create a bunch of boxes going down. Okay, same thing, we're carrying across these menus. The header is also here, and the footer is also here. Okay, and we'll talk a little bit more about the footer at the end. All right, for the facilities page, all right, let's do a comparison on your facilities page here. All right, you had pictures showing different things. Again, we don't need all of this if we have a slideshow over here. So either pick one or the other. So for this page, you could either leave all of those little pictures down here and take this away, or just feature it in here. Since you've been featuring content in windows like this, then it just kind of feels like it makes sense for just to have a slideshow to go across. You might need to add more of these bubbles depending on how many images you choose to display. And then what I would do is I would actually write more about the facilities. Like, we have this type of equipment, we have this many gyms, we have a sauna, we have these fields, you know, that type of thing. Okay, so I would write about that. Or find that information on your website. I'm guessing it's somewhere on there. Okay. And then for the programs page, again, everything seemed correct. The only thing is you needed to add things like our programs, very big, you know. Same thing for all of these other pages, you know, making sure our facility, making sure you have those kind of headers. On some of these, you don't need that slideshow. So like for this page, you can just go directly from your header to this, to these buttons, which you need on all the pages, and then go straight into your content like you've done. So to this page, I didn't have to do much modifications. I think the only thing I might have added was the our programs, and then this universal buttons and header and stuff, as well as the footer. Okay, now taking a look at the footer, I want to spend a little bit more time on this. Basically, that stuff that you had at the top, the hours of operations, the welcome center hours, the address and all of that, we put in here. That's universal information. They can quickly go to it. I put the directions button right next to the address. Okay, and then the Twitter, the YouTube, and the Facebook, you don't want to just write these out. You'd probably want to do icons. If you're doing icons, do icons for all of them. Okay, so be consistent. And then if it's sponsored by United Way, you just want to like put sponsored by. You can just really shorten down the content. The content isn't good, like the way that it's written. You can kind of shorten it down as long as you don't lose the essence of the information they're trying to give the people. Okay, now again, if you don't like the buttons, the universal buttons such as the view schedule, register online, support us, you can always put them at the bottom here and then only use them in the main content on the pages that they apply. For instance, on the programs page, you should definitely have a button to view schedule. So when we go in here, you know, we already have it accessible because it's universal, but if you didn't want to have these other ones, you could do that as long as there's somewhere where it's universal, like in the footer or in the header. I think it's going to get kind of crowded up in the header if you do that. So I've just put them here, okay? So that's pretty much your feedback. I'm going to go through each one of these pages so that you get a sense, okay? And I'm going to do a comparison so that you can kind of compare, and that way you have this video to kind of look at, okay? So that's the home page. Do you see how it kind of feels a little bit still random and stuff? Not everything tightened up? Now do comparison, okay? Menu bar, search bar, universal buttons, and a consistent header with some links to it. Okay, the content, this part remains pretty much the same. You got your universal buttons here. You got your other information to your website pages, and then you have a little picture. Okay. Second page, comparison. All right. Instead of featuring it as a video, because there's usually more than one news item going on at a time, you'd want to continue doing more of these, and instead of featuring it in here, feature it as pictures. Okay, it's up to you whether you put the pictures on the left or on the right hand side. That's totally up to you. Okay, so there's the comparison. I would give them access to read more either written or as a little button. Okay, footer is there as well. Okay, next page, our facility. Our facility. Here's where you choose. You either do this here, okay, or you do this here, in which case you'd need to add more buttons here. So you could either do that, or you could do something like that, okay? Up to you. I always say the less clicking they have to do, the less work they have to do, the better, but it's really up to you. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. All right, next page, and actually your last page. Again, primarily what I changed was this this header information and the footer, and then added to let us know what page we were actually on. So if we look at the next page, clearly identify that we're on our programs. I added the header, the universal buttons, and then the footer. Okay? All right, that's pretty much it. Hopefully this helps. And if you have any questions, just make sure to contact me, okay?